9:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited and read by Ramesh Piris. First, the headlines. The President urges public to get vaccinated against COVID-19. The ceremonial opening of the third session of the 9th Parliament is scheduled for tomorrow. Adverse weather conditions reported from parts of the country. Landslide warnings in 8 districts extended. Directives issued to register multiple vehicles for fuel pass. The government to facilitate electric vehicle imports by migrant workers to promote remittances. Sri Lanka to repeal Canadian marriage law provision on parental consent for minors. In news overseas, US Navy deploys warships east of Taiwan ahead of Pelosi trip. In sports, 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, Yupun Abikon qualifies for the men's 100-meter semi-final. Now the local news in detail. The President's Media Division says President Ranil Wickremesinghe has appealed to members of the public to get themselves vaccinated against COVID-19 immediately as risks of infection are increasing. Furthermore, he urged the public to adhere to COVID protocols to avoid the spread of the disease. Meanwhile, 1,616 COVID patients have been identified for the month of July and 35 patients have succumbed to the dreaded disease. President Wickremesinghe noted that there are 8 million vaccines still available in the country and requested the public to get vaccinated at the earliest to avoid another spread of the virus. The ceremonial opening of the third session of the 9th Parliament is scheduled for tomorrow. According to the Department of Communications of the Parliament, President Ranil Wickremesinghe has given directives to commence the new parliamentary session without a guard of honour, salutes and ceremonial horses. The presidential flag will not be hoisted at the event. The second session of the 9th Parliament was prorogued through an extraordinary gazette notification issued by the President on July 28, 2022 in accordance with the powers vested in him by the Constitution. President Wickremesinghe is scheduled to deliver the government's policy statement. According to the order paper of the House, the Parliament will be adjourned until 1 p.m. on August 9th. 4 lives have been claimed by the adverse weather conditions reported in parts of the country over the past few days. According to the Disaster Management Centre, Kandy, Nuwara Galle and Ratnapura districts are the hardest hit. The DMC statistics revealed that at least 7,649 people belonging to 1,766 families have been affected by the prevailing heavy rains and gusty winds. More than 3,000 people of 634 families have been evacuated to safe locations. Meanwhile, 25 houses sustained partial damages. Speaking on the prevailing inclement weather, Director of Irrigation Hydrology, SPC Sugispura, said that the flood situation is expected to increase in high-lying areas of Nilbala and Kalu River basins if the prevailing rainfall continues. He also noted that the water levels of Mausakele, Castlereagh, Upper Kotmale and Victoria reservoirs have increased substantially. Cabinet of Ministers has approved a proposal to gazette and table in Parliament a bill seeking to repeal Section 2 of the Canadian Marriages and Divorce Act that requires parental consent for the marriage of a minor and to remove the existing non-conformities. The Government Information Department in a statement said the previous Cabinet of Ministers had approved the draft bill on October 26, 2021. The statement further read that the legal draftsman had prepared the bill and the Attorney General has also approved it. Minister of Justice, Prison Affairs and Constitutional Reforms, Vijay Dasa Rajapaksa, will publish a gazette and subsequently table it in the Parliament. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with local news. The Cabinet of Ministers has given the approval for 2 proposals made by Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nanakar to promote migrant worker remittance. Accordingly, the provisions of an additional duty concession allowance for migrant workers upon their arrival based on the amount of remittance transmitted through official channels was approved by the Cabinet of Ministers. Further, a license to import an electric vehicle equivalent to 50% of remittance transmitted through legal channels was also green-lighted. Trade Union leader Saman Ratnapriya has been appointed as the Director General of Trade Unions to President Ranil Wickremesinghe. The appointment was made by the Secretary to the President, Saman Ekanayake, on the advice of the Head of State, in line with powers vested in him under Article 41(1) of the Constitution. And that ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In the main news story, Minister of Power Kanchana Wijesekara has issued directives on registering multiple vehicles for the National Fuel Pass for government vehicles, organizations and businesses. Taking to Twitter, the minister said each vehicle must be registered with a separate mobile phone number and ID card, passport or business registration number of the vehicle driver or any user of the vehicle on the QR code system. The minister said from the 12th of August, government institutions, organizations and businesses with multiple vehicles will be able to register with BRN or code assigned to them with one specific mobile number for all vehicles. He added the temporary QR code obtained should be deleted when doing so. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
In Watchlight this evening, the Expressway Operation Maintenance and Management Division has issued a special notice for all motorists who use the expressway amid the ongoing fuel crisis. They ask motorists to be circumspect when entering the expressway if they do not have enough fuel to drive and reach their destination. To give better visibility for motorists, the notices are displayed on digital boards, clearly state that vehicles should not enter the Southern Expressway if there is not enough fuel. And that came to you in Watchlight. A bulletin of world news is next.
A Strength to Your Life. CIB Janajaya Vasana has commenced. Valuable gifts and all bills are on 31st of October. Come to CIB today.
First, the headlines of the world news. U.S. Navy deploys warships east of Taiwan ahead of Pelosi trip. The new daily high for 2022 was set on Monday on Channel migrants. People are being airlifted to safety to escape Kentucky floods. Now the world news in detail. 4 United States warships, including an aircraft carrier, have taken up positions in waters east of Taiwan in what the U.S. Navy called routine deployments amid rising Chinese anger over an expected visit to the island by House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Pelosi is expected to arrive in Taipei later on Tuesday, as the U.S. said it would not be intimidated by Chinese warnings against the visit of the highest-ranking U.S. official to travel to the island since 1997. Almost 700 migrants crossed the English Channel on 14 small boats on Monday, a record for the year so far. The Ministry of Defense said 696 migrants made the crossing, topping the previous daily record of 651 in April. The French authorities stopped one boat at sea with 35 people on board. More than 17,000 people have arrived in the UK after navigating busy shipping lines from France in small boats so far in 2022, according to government figures. Last year, 28,526 people are known to have crossed in small boats, up from 8,404 in 2020. Residents in eastern Kentucky are being airlifted to safety after the region was hit by the worst flooding in decades. Troops from the National Guard are using helicopters to rescue people who have been left stranded. Kentucky's Governor Andy Beshear said the rescue operation was ongoing and he expected emergency crews to be finding bodies for weeks. President Joe Biden has declared the floods a major disaster and ordered federal aid to help local rescuers. Back to the headlines of the world news. U.S. Navy deploys warships east of Taiwan ahead of Pelosi trip. The new daily high for 2022 was set on Monday on Channel migrants, and people are being airlifted to safety to escape Kentucky floods. And that ends world news. Moving on to development news. Madhavachi Divisional Secretariat divisions have received 90 metric tons of rice under the assistance of the Indian government. According to the Madhavachi Divisional Secretariat, it has planned to distribute the stock of rice to 9,724 selected low-income family units. There are nearly 60,000 people in the Medabache Divisional Secretariat Division, and a majority of the people have chosen farming as their main source of income. All the stocks of rice are to be distributed within the next 2 days. And that was development news.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Moving on to sports, it's athletics. Sri Lanka's Yupun Abhikon became first in 6 heats. I beg your pardon. Sri Lanka's Yupun Abhikon came in first in Heat 6 of the men's 100-meter event at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham today. Abhikon came in first with a time of 10.06 seconds to qualify for the semi-finals, which will be worked off tomorrow. Keon Benjamin of Trinidad and Tobago was second with a time of 10.34 seconds and also qualified for the semi-finals. And that was sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Moving on to business news, a host of digitized and paperless services adopted by the Information Technology Department in collaboration with other departments of the Board of Investment in a bid to curtail excess expenditure and facilitate customer touchpoints have proven track record of success, which is evident with the experience shared by a local investor with the BOI. Mr. Prasanta Chandralal, a senior consultant at Mars Intimates Private Limited, said the benefits from the online systems introduced by the BOI has helped conducting businesses effectively and efficiently, saving time and cost with the least use of papers. And that came to you in Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
In economic news, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara said the Cabinet at its meeting held on Monday granted the approval to restructure the country's energy supply Ceylon Electricity Board. Minister Wijesekara further said a committee will be appointed to give their recommendations within a month from their appointment. The minister said the revised tariff rates for renewable energy projects was also approved. And that was economic news. The weather report is next. Moving on to the weather report, the Met Department says showery and windy conditions are expected to continue in the western and southern sea areas and in the southwest quarter of the island due to active southwest monsoon. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamu, central and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Heavy rainfalls above 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamu province and in the Kandy, Nuwara, Kaluthara, Galle and Mathura districts. Several spells of showers may occur in the north and northern central provinces. Meanwhile, landslide warnings issued in 8 districts have been extended further. The National Building Research Organisation said the landslide warnings were issued in the Galle, Mathura, Hambantota, Kandy, Nuwara, Mathale, Kegalle and Ratnapura districts. The landslide warnings were extended till 3 a.m. tomorrow. And that concludes the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. The President urges public to get vaccinated against COVID-19. The ceremonial opening of the 3rd session of the 9th Parliament is scheduled for tomorrow. Adverse weather conditions reported from parts of the country. Landslide warnings in 8 districts extended. Directives issued to register multiple vehicles for fuel pass. The government to facilitate electric vehicle imports by migrant workers to promote remittances. Sri Lanka to repeal Canadian marriage law provisions on parental consent for minors. In news overseas, US Navy deploys warships east of Taiwan ahead of Pelosi trip. In sports, 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, Yupun Abhikon qualifies for the men's 100-meter semi-final. And that concludes this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.